I know it's surreal. I can't believe it. So that's coming up next hour, and a lot of other issues we haven't gotten to yet. Healthcare is in deep trouble. They told you it was a foregone conclusion that it would pass. There was no way to stop it. They kind of buffaloed the public. Now it's in conference, and the Democrats are trying to back out at the last minute because they realize this is political suicide. So put the heat on them. Mark in Texas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. I'm a member of We Are Changed Austin, and we went to the Capitol for a nullification rally of socialized government health care yesterday. We tried to get Deborah Medina up on stage really hard, and they ended up just blasting country music until everybody left. So be on the lookout for some video of that. Also, totally unrelated, aquaponics. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's a closed cycle. You make a little ecosystem where you grow freshwater fish and raise vegetables at the same time.
Yes, I have heard of it. It can supply 50 billion people on the earth. It's a closed biosphere that just almost has no waste and is self-contained and self-renewing.
Yes,
anything else?
So maybe we can get you hooked up with a sponsor for an aquaponics system.
I've read about that science. I wasn't particularly aware of that name, but thank you. I appreciate the call, Mark. Okay, let's talk to Joshua. Thank you, Mark. Let's talk to Joshua in Florida. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. How you doing, my friend?
Good, sir. What's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to talk about, it seems like a lot of times within the Patriot and Truth movement, we're almost fighting ghosts, like the warrantless wiretapping. It's already implemented before they adopt it. And I'm thinking maybe perhaps we could take some preemptive legislative tactics. I'm thinking, can we start taking steps to pass state resolutions to go ahead and bar the use of private mercenary forces or groups deployed to
Absolutely, and that's what the states are doing. Look, there have been a bunch of lawsuits by people that were illegally wiretapped under the Patriot Act, and federal judges throw it out under national security. So the problem is they admit they're using the Patriot Act in anything but terrorism. They're using it across the board, and the federal judges are so corrupt that it just continues. But think about how bad judges are now. Imagine Cass Sunstein, who's set to be the next Supreme Court justice, openly saying in free speech. I mean, how can you have a Supreme Court justice that doesn't even mince words? He says we can restrict your free speech if it's a conspiracy theory, and he will decide what a conspiracy theory is.
Absolutely unreal. It's pretty Orwellian, too, and I'm with We Are Changed Florida, and some tactics we've been using to really put this point across is using a lot of sarcasm, just getting out in crowded areas with a bullhorn and just repeating, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, these type of things, and people are really responding well to that because... Yeah,
a lot of folks are going out and saying naked body scanners are good. It's good the banks took $28 trillion. Do what the government says. It's good they're federalizing people. So you're doing this, and it's successful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And, we go to UCF, we go to the University of Central Florida pretty often. We're going next Wednesday. We'll be there doing the same thing. And we always give out a few hundred. Last time we went, we gave out about 500 copies of Follow the Republic. And all kind of people are interested in what's going on because we had the Democrats, there, couldn't say a word of what we had to say. And then we had the college Republicans, and none of them could debate us on anything because everything we said was accurate.
Well, that's why the globalists are in trouble. That's why major magazines, newspapers, TV networks are here every week finding out about this radio show because we are at the heart of what's going on. We are certainly not responsible for it. We are not, the main focus of it, but we are at the heart of it, right at the nexus point, and we can see what's happening. And so many people feel isolated because they're not known. A lot of people know what I look like now. And so everywhere I go, I get the positive feedback. I get my dinner bought in other cities, other states. I get piles of fan mail. And you go out and you put out a message of liberty, and you're saying most people come up to you and agree with you. See, we are the majority. We are the common sense. We are the revolution against tyranny. I appreciate your call, Joshua. Okay, let's go ahead and talk to Ashley in Dallas. Ashley, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. Thank you for taking my call. Hey, listen, we're real similar the standpoint. We're both Texans and both raised here in Texas. My family's been here for forever, basically. My family's had land here in Texas for 150 years. But I want to give you a list of names, and I want to get your response to this. Larry Silverstein, Richard Pearl, Ellie Fleischer, Paul Wolfowitz, Douglas Feith, Jules and Jeremy Kroll, Rothschild, Nancy Pelosi, Michael Chertoff, on and on, Henry Kissinger, Michael Eisner, Steve Bornstein, ABC News, Sumner Redstone,
Cass Sunstein.
Yes, that's right.
I know where you're going with this.
Okay, and I'm not being critical of you, Alex, because I follow you, understand, and I defend you, and I'm with you. You understand me? But
listen, Ashley, it's okay. Hold on, Ashley. Nobody screened your call, right?
Nobody did.
Nobody did?
Nope.
Okay, so you're on the air. Go ahead, say what you want to say.
Well, what do these people have in common?
Well, you're saying they're Jewish.
They're Zionists, Jews, and they're all heavily involved in both our government, our media, and 9/11. And we don't talk about that as a group. Why?
Well, again, an incredibly complex issue. There are a lot of people in government. And if we start sitting there and cherry picking, there are people that say Catholics run it all, and they can list thousands of Catholics in powerful positions of government. Or there's people that say Masons run it all and point out thousands of Masons in powerful positions of government. Or there are people that say Mormons run it all and point out all the Mormons, 2% of the population in all these powerful positions. Clearly, my point is there's socialist Jews, there's conservative Jews, there's liberal Jews. Are there groups of Jewish people that go to college, get into government, who are pushing tyranny? Absolutely. But I don't think sitting here and making it something that's all and only about Jews is healthy. I don't screen people's calls. We criticize Israel when they stage the attack on the USS Liberty, which has now been declassified, NSA transcripts. We were proven correct. I interviewed the admirals and the people on the ship and all of them. They tried to sink the ship to blame it on Egypt, a false flag event. Here's my other problem. I don't like a lot of things Israel does, but I also don't like the things, not the white supremacist. Everybody that criticizes Israel is not a white supremacist. And the media tries to, put that idea out. Jimmy Carter did. But the issue here is they also exaggerate a lot. The Nazis and the Jews run it all crowd say I'm Jewish and that I work for Israel, which is not true. So I've seen a lot of lies and particular nastiness and lies out of the groups that say that. And I see them make up a lot. Like they say Jones is a Jewish name and I'm Jewish. And I'm not. But I have, a Jewish guy works in my office, love him to death, one of my favorite friends and employees. And he's not involved in some master conspiracy. Let me get this straight because I've said it before and get it wrong. My wife's grandfather was Jewish farmers in Texas. Nice people. They're not running around with some evil plan. My wife is a Christian Protestant. People say my wife needs to basically be killed, and she's this big Jewish agent and all this. So I'm not going to sit here and get into mass hatred of Jews. And I'm going to talk about the Federal Reserve being private and ruining our country and call for abolishing it. I'm going to call for auditing the Fed. I'm going to call for ending these wars. I'm going to call to stop foreign aid. I'm going to call to support free speech. And I'm going to expose tyranny. And I expose the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all of it. And certainly the Rothschilds are Jewish and are at the very highest levels of the New World Order. So is the Vatican. But it's not just Jews or the Vatican or black people or this or that. It is powerful elites, combined forces. The Aztecs were doing bad things. Were they run by Jews? This idea that only evil flows from Jews and there's only corruption from Jews is wrong. Okay, but I do expose the myriad crimes of Israel to great criticism. The ADL attacks me all the time. Stay there. I'm going to come back to you in just 1 minute. Hour number 2. I got an interesting story I want to tell after we finish with this caller about the MSNBC producer that was here. But going back to Ashley in Dallas. Ashley, if I get on air and say all Masons are child-sacrificing devil worshipers, Masons are going to hear that, and they're going to know it's not true because they're not. and then we've just turned off that whole group. If I explain to them how Masonry was taken over, the truth, by the Illuminati, as George Washington exposed it and others, then they'll wake up and root out what they've got going on in their organizations. I mean, it's not enough that I'm critical of what Israel does, constantly talk about it. All the people that only play one tune and only talk about Israel and Zionists and Jews all day, I've just found that they're hateful, some of them. They lie constantly. All they do is infight. Hal Turner, one of their head guys, turned out was an FBI operative. It's come out that Zionist organizations, and this has been all over the news, want to radicalize and want to get Jews persecuted so they can then get them under their control and, like, indoctrinate them. I mean, this is a very sophisticated thing that's going on. And so I try to really be honest about what I think in life. You know, just because a lot of members of Mecha and La Raza who are Hispanic, and it's a large portion, I wouldn't say the majority, but almost, really want to overthrow America. They say they do. For our race, everything. Those outside the race, nothing.